It's been a while since I've started one of these, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start talking. But my boss told me that she'd be leaving May 8th, so that's very good news for me because she was giving me a lot of headaches, and I was just tired of her micromanaging every single move that I was making at my job. And it's just insane because, I'm a janitor, and I don't really need so much attention paid to what I'm doing. It was just frustrating, and I planned on making a whole talk about it, but I just didn't feel like it because I the more I think about it, the more I get frustrated, and it's just something where I feel like everyone's sort of going through it right now, and everyone sort of has had that experience, and I just when I get home, it's the last thing I ever want to think about, and to do something like that, it just you know it's not something that I wanted to do. When I get home, I want to do what I enjoy, and I just want to be able to not think about work. Just want to be able to have fun, to play games, to code on my project, to draw, whatever, you know. But I quit going to therapy. I quit because I just sort of saw myself in a place of acceptance, and I just didn't feel the need to go anymore. I guess some of you might be asking, why was I even going in the first place? And a few months ago, I went through a period in my life where it was almost impossible to do normal things. And whether these feelings will come back again, like I have no idea. So that's out of the realm of my own knowledge or thinking or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I was just in a state of grief where it was just impossible for me to motivate myself to, or just get the gumption to do anything normal, to enjoy the pleasures I do have in my life, to even do normal routine things like go to work or whatever, or yeah. So it was just one of those things where I just hated everything about my life, and I didn't see the point of going on. Now I don't know if I was at the point of suicidal ideation. I mean, I've experienced it on a couple of occasions, but and that was part of the reason why I was on antidepressants for a couple of years. Um, but even then, the antidepressants didn't really do anything, or they didn't really work, so I didn't really take them for too long. Um, but I can say now, uh, without I don't really that's the thing. I don't really know if I really did anything. Um, but I sort of um, my conscience, I guess, is in a state of acceptance where I think because it's not just me, but like so many other people in my life are finally, recognizing that the world is not the same anymore. You know, there's been all these warehouse fires, and it's not just obviously me, but my family is beginning to, my immediate family, I should say, is finally beginning to recognize that like things are not normal. And the normal way of going about and improving your life just doesn't work anymore. So there is that. Now they do, of course, still hold on to certain myths like capital isn't working, or if you just work hard enough, someone's bound to recognize you and get you a promotion or whatever. Which again, that doesn't happen, you know. But they're the people that I know in real life are beginning to slowly understand and come to the same conclusions that I am. Particularly the more younger people, my parents and grandparents, obviously they're in a different dimension because they've experienced different things, but even they are slowly coming around. So I'm not trying to. The one thing I did learn in therapy is, and it's strange because it's very unusual for me, but to sort of course correct my mind and to not view everything as being a negative. So the one change that sort of alleviated a lot of pain was the fact that I'm basically going to be living with my parents for probably the rest of my life. Now, is it ideal? No, but I think talking with other people on Discord and in real life, so my coworkers, well, the one coworker I'm not going to mention his name, but he's going to be living with family probably for the foreseeable future of his rest of his life. Um, I mean, it's not just me, and I feel like there's sort of this weight off my shoulders, realizing that I'm not the only one going through this pain anymore, and that I don't want to say it's normalized, but at the same time, it's it, it's this weird sort of recognition that okay, it's not just me. Now, does this make me happy? Does this make me content or whatever? No, I'm not content. I'm not. I obviously I think every day that I would much prefer to have like a dream life or a dream house or whatever, and because I gave up on the dream of ever having a family a long time ago. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this, in my very first video, but I've, at this point in my life, I've met so many people that think the same, or at least come to similar conclusions as me, that I'm certain that in the future, the people that will be, procreating are going to be the exception rather than the norm. And it's going to be one of those things where it will be a privilege in the first world to pass on your offspring and or pass on your legacy, I should say. And it's probably going to be only for the elites. And just seeing the way the education is going, the way the prices are just absolutely collapsing and just or how what I mean. The economy's collapsing, and the fact that affordability is never going to come, and people's just overall health and everything, the soul of the country, whatever you want to call it, is just being absolutely demolished. We have to quickly adapt and get used to a new standard of living. Um, I've made I my problem is I've never really gotten political on this channel before, and so I do want to make it clear that I've been expecting disaster for a very long time. It's part of my theological, political understanding of world events and particular geopolitical events that the United States has been doing to the rest of the world. So, um, I it's how should I put it? It's not comforting for those that live in the United States, but for someone like me, where I expect these disasters to come on the basis of the fact that we've been imposing these horrific crimes on the rest of the world, like Venezuela, Cuba, Palestine, now Iran, and not to mention forgotten countries like Laos and Cambodia, stuff like that. It was to be expected that we would finally be hit back, and in a way, I welcome it. I welcome that vengeance is finally upon us. There's going to be a lot of people that are not prepared, and there's going to be a lot of people that are so confused as to like, how could this happen to us? So um, but I've been very much involved in history and reading about all this consequences of the events of our politics and stuff like that. So I'm no stranger to conspiracy theories. Like 9/11 Truth and the USS Liberty, and the history of the conflicts between Israel and Palestine, and there's a good book out there, Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Um, it's on it's on my shelf somewhere. I forget the name of the author right now. It's off the top of my head, but that's a good one. I'm pretty sure I've recommended a couple other authors like Dr. Henry Mackau and Dr. E. Michael Jones, but that's for another day. But um, yeah, the nature of my channel isn't really political. I guess I should also note that I don't really consider myself black-pilled anymore. And I've never really used terms like excess male. I've never really used other vocabulary, within the same framework as other people within this black pill space. So I don't know. I've never really fit in with like the rest of the community. So my plan is that this will be my last video, and that well, I should explain that the fact that the reason I don't think I fit in is just because I was talking with a buddy of mine on Discord, and you know he sort of observed it, from an outsider perspective because he's not really black pilled. But he noticed that a lot of incel content and black pill content is just sort of, he called it goddess worship. And I found that very interesting because, if you watch, let's say, a black pillar talk about looks maxing, and maybe you watch someone on the complete opposite side of the black pill space, like Clavicular or whatever, or Andrew Tate, right? It's all goddess worship because even if you try to remove women from the equation and you're still talking about looks maxing or status maxing, or even just being your own existence as an excess male, what you're still doing is participating in goddess worship because you're framing your life as being lesser than, because you you're constructing your life as being worse because you exist in the absence of women. Or I guess I should say, your horrible life status, is the way it is because of the absence of women. That's how you view your life. Um, I do the opposite, where I try to say, okay, this is your life. What are you going to do about it? For me, I have a lot of creative hobbies and passions where I'm not going to name the name of my website, that I'm building right now, but I'm very passionate about this project. I'm working with a number of writers and people that want to participate. So I sort of, by my own um, labor, I've cultivated a very small but niche community that has the same passions as I do. Um, and there's a very particular reason I don't want to share it, with the black pill space, is because it has nothing to do with the black pill. And that's probably another reason why, like, I feel the need to leave this space, is because my true passions have really nothing to do with me being an excess male. Um, so, with that out of the way, I want to dedicate and move my channel and whatever subscribers are still listening. I want you guys to go and subscribe to Spicy Cracker. So I'm going to dedicate this video and all of my subscribers that you go watch him from now on. He's still making good content, and he's got like a schedule out. He's a very good guy. He's very well spoken and articulate. He's planning on making very diverse in terms of like quality and in terms of like edited content. That's what I mean by diverse. Um, so it's not boring like like my content. Um, but no, he's a good dude. So I'm basically passing the torch over to him. He's I'm gonna, if there was some way I could pass over my channel operations to him, I would do that. But I'm not so sure if there'd be a way to do that without giving up my email. But yeah, that's I think that's all I want to say. I I can't really think of anything else that's necessary to say. I mean, I did enjoy the conversations with the live streams. Um, so I here okay. Probably the last thing I'll say is I plan on privating everything and probably just keeping the channel up. If there's anything that you guys want to archive, probably do it within this week. Um, and or if there's absolutely like a video that you need to leave up, just like leave it in the comments or whatever, and I'll I'll leave it up. It's not really a huge deal or whatever. Um, there's some videos I probably just need to private or unlist or whatever. So, but yeah, I mean that's it. That's all I really have to say. All right. See you guys later.